First story. The entitled bridezilla lashed out at OP, accusing her of ruining the shower that OP had paid for and worked on tirelessly. Fed up, OP walked out from the wedding. Now the bridezilla has called OP's husband, claiming that OP is mentally unstable, ruining their 21-year relationship. What the title says. I've been spending hours every day leading the planning on this shower, which myself and the other bridesmaids are paying for, even though it's 6 months away, because the bride is hounding us to get everything done ASAP, the kind of hounding that makes you just want to do something so the person shuts up. Today, the bride told another bridesmaid that me asking her for the guest list was asking her to do work for the shower, and she shouldn't have to do anything but show up and enjoy it. She does not speak to her future mill, and she's currently in an argument with her own mother and doesn't want her involved. The guest list is the only thing we need from her outside of when we asked her to confirm she was free for the date we picked. Top comments. Birdie1972. Bro bail. Don't get stuck in the sunk cost fallacy on this one. Kpig123. Why does anyone put up with entitled nonsense like this? I'd say, I think what you're telling me is that you don't want a bridal shower, because that's what's going to happen without you getting off your lazy arse and giving me a guest list. So quit playing Princess of the Universe and get busy. Update. I quit my bridezilla's wedding. 1.5 months later. Everyone who said things would get worse was correct. I'm not proud of how things ended, but I'm relieved. Things came to a head because one of the other bridesmaids apparently decided to take on the role of informant and send screenshots of everything we said in the shower planning group text to the bride, including what our shower budget was. I did not give the bride a direct answer when she asked about it. I said it was a modest budget, but enough for it to be a nice day because 1. It was definitely a financial inconvenience for a few bridesmaids, and I was hopeful we could come in under budget and possibly save everyone some money. 2. The bride was flip-flopping a lot on wanting a shower even when planning was underway, saying how much she wanted one, but that she didn't want to put anyone out or cost us money because she couldn't take feeling guilty. I had to talk her down from calling it off several times, and was worried that she would object to us spending that much and say she wanted to cancel again. 3. The shower is a gift from the bridal party to the bride, and I don't think it's fair to ask how much a gift costs. When we first started planning, we had $1,700 for everything. Everyone put in what they could with zero expectations, and the amounts ranged from $50 to $500, anonymously. The bride wanted 40 guests to do an ice cream-themed brunch with a sundae bar, and to play a lot of games. She was very clear about not wanting her mom involved. The shower was scheduled for August, so we needed it to be indoors air-conditioned, but no one has a house big enough for 40, so we needed a venue rental. The bride had given a short list of places she'd thought of, such as Elks Clubs, VFWs, etc. I was on venue duty in addition to helping the MO with the general organization and mobilization of 8 bridesmaids in 4 states and 2 countries who didn't really know each other, and it was challenging. Even a lot of VFW-type places were $700+ just for the space. I thought of doing a restaurant event room, but most places were coming in around $40 per head, and many of them said we could not bring in ice cream. Others were not handicap accessible, others were more expensive on Saturdays, and others had guest minimums. In the end, I talked to several dozen venues. Places don't respond immediately. There was follow-up and dead ends, so it was a lot of work on top of talking things through with the MO and engaging with the regular bridal chat. I was getting a lot of pressure from the bride to get something booked, so I ended up booking one of the veterans' halls she had mentioned that recently had a total renovation and looked really nice in photos. It was $100 per hour, so the MO and I agreed to do a 4-hour rental, and I put the deposit on my credit card. The bride seemed happy when I told her the venue was booked and said thank you. After this, the bride's mom offered to pay for the venue, and the bride told me to let her do so, so her mom mailed me a check. And I thought we were over the hump on any drama around the shower. The MO was working on the food estimate and coordinating directly with the bride. This time, the informant texted us and asked if the budget we had was the budget for both the shower and bachelorette, and I said it wasn't initially, but we could poll the group about if they wanted to leave any leftovers in the pot for the bachelorette, and she said that sounded good. This was a couple of weeks ago. Since then, things have been a little stressful. The bride was unhappy that people weren't texting her back, and sent some pretty aggro texts last weekend about how we're all causing her stress she doesn't need, and that we're rude and don't respect her. When pressed, a few people said that they couldn't keep up with all the texts. There are 10 of us. This group text for an October 2024 wedding started in June 2023, and I think people are burnt out already, and yesterday the bride passively put a reel in her IG stories about how bridesmaids need to help and wrote, "lol" over it, "we are 35. Last night, The Mo had the finalized food plan. If we did grocery store catering platters, we could feed everyone apps, a main, a salad, 2 sides, and 2 desserts, one being a sundae bar, with several different non-alcoholic drink options for $650. Having that information, I sent out a text to the other bridesmaids with an overall budget update and some general guidance on how to spend what we had left: $650 for food, $100 for invitations, $200 for favors, etc. At the end of that update, I said that even if we maxed out, we'd still have $200 left over, but we'd probably have more. Everyone gave a thumbs up or raised concerns. Most people gave a quick thumbs up, but the informant said we were spending too much and that the bride was expecting us to have more than $200 left over. That last part definitely rubbed me the wrong way, but in the spirit of being agreeable, I said that to get a better sense of costs, everyone could do an estimate for what they thought they'd need for their respective tasks, and then report back in 2 weeks, which they said sounded good. Today, I woke up after updating my phone OS last night to a bunch of text notifications with the name of the venue in them. My phone did that thing where you just see a number but no name. There were at least 6 of them. When I unlocked them, they were all gone. I posted in the group chat without the bride asking if someone had texted about the venue, and the informant said she was pretty sure the venue didn't have AC. And apparently there had been a lot of heated conversation around that I had told everyone which venue I booked several weeks ago when I did it. So I'm not sure why it was only coming up today. I was already planning on going to the venue today to take pictures to help the person doing the decorating and to put the rest of the money down. So I said I'd confirm AC 100%, but was pretty sure I'd asked before booking. My blood pressure was way up already, starting my day with more shower drama. So I decided to call the venue before driving all the way there, a 40-minute drive, and confirm about the AC in case I had somehow messed that up. I hadn't. While I was on the phone with the venue, I got a text from an unfamiliar number, which ended up being the bride's mom, saying the informant told them I was going to the venue and the bride was with them. They wanted to know what time I was going so they could meet me. At that point, I told the other bridesmaids that I had confirmed the venue had AC, but that because there were concerns, I wasn't going to put the rest of the money down until we were sure we wanted it, and that I would call the bride to discuss. When I called the bride, I could tell right away that she was pissed. I asked her what was going on, and she said she heard the venue had AC, so that was good. Word of that had miraculously traveled in less than 5 minutes. She asked if I was going to the venue, and I said I wasn't going to drive all the way there to take pictures or pay if she no longer wanted the venue. She scolded me, saying there's a better way to do things. Other people live closer, and I don't need to be driving to the venue to take pictures. Then she told me she's been trying very hard to be patient with me, but that she shouldn't have to be unhappy about her own bridal shower. This was the first thing I heard about her not liking the venue. It had even been on her list. Her tone was very indignant and patronizing. I seriously felt like 2 cents. I asked why she was unhappy, and she said that the food the Mo had planned was not nice enough, that she heard we were spending $650 just on food, and that, because her mom had paid for the venue, we should be able to pay for food plus everything else needed for the shower, meaning invitations, favors, decorations, game prizes, plates and utensils, etc. With $650, so there would be more left over. I was so taken aback and overwhelmed that I honestly started to cry a little, and told her that I'd tried to plan to give her a nice day with the information I had at the time. That she didn't want to be involved in planning. She didn't want her mom involved. She wanted to do Sundays and games, and I was trying to work with what we had and what she wanted. When I tried to defend myself, she said, "Do not talk to me this way every time I talk to you," and started lambasting me. That's where I honestly don't remember too much else, because I finally snapped and said, "Okay, I'm done. I'm pulling out of this wedding." She kept yelling at me, so I yelled, "I'm done," again and hung up. She called me back immediately a few times, and I declined. I texted her, reiterating that I was done, that I had just wanted to give her a nice day, but that I clearly do not have the capacity to show up. Like she needs a bridesmaid to show up, so it's in everyone's best interest for me to drop out. She texted me that I should have a conversation like an adult. I sent her the money her mom had sent me back on Venmo, and told her I'd done so. She called me over and over in rapid succession, and I finally blocked her. So that was it. Not my finest moment, but I was definitely in fight or flight, and I don't owe it to anyone to get on the phone with them, so they can berate and tone police me. I texted the Mo just to give her a heads up that I am out of the wedding, and she told me the bride had called her right after, and said that she wants her shower at a restaurant now, and that she was expecting to have a conversation about how we're spending our money. I was ready to eat the non-refundable portion of the deposit, but the woman at the venue felt so bad for me that I'm getting it back. I was also supposed to be doing her wedding makeup, and she was pushing back on needing to buy her own foundation. So I wish whoever inherits that task luck. I will never be a bridesmaid again after this. I wish I had listened to my gut and everyone who told me to bow out gracefully weeks ago, because maybe things could have been salvaged. But now I don't see how we come back from this or know if I even want to. Update. She texted my husband, saying that there is a big disconnect here, that I am clearly not okay in a deep way, and she hopes I can find my way to okay soon. It's truly impressive that someone can be that sanctimonious about me, not wanting to be yelled at, taken for granted, and SHT talked. Relevant comments. Dogs and Cats World 1000. I'm glad you are finally out of that. I wonder how many more of the bridal parties she will end up driving away. I hope you enjoy your summer with the amount of free time you will have without being part of this nightmare. OP. She kicked another person out a few months ago. Snuffleupagus 27. Why was she worried about how much money was left over? Was she expecting to get that money for something else? I am so confused. Muffin Mama 93. She wanted the leftovers to go toward the bachelorette party, which will be a nightmare in and of itself. No one needs a $1,700 bridal shower unless they are paying everything themselves. These bridezillas are vampires, sucking the money, time, and emotional energy out of their bridesmaids' lives because bridesmaid has now come to mean slave labor where slaves pay all the bills too. OP. We weren't even against her using the leftovers, but her setting her own secondary budget and then being mad that we were exceeding it is wild. We are also older, and many people in the bridal party have small kids, and we are too busy to do everything in the most economical way possible. We also just wanted it to be nice for her, so we were in favor of paying for a certain degree of convenience and some things of higher quality. 16 car. $1,700 for a bridal shower is absolutely insane. OP. She didn't ask us to spend that much. It was how much we had after everyone chipped in. There were 9 bridesmaids altogether before I dropped out. And we were not planning on spending all of it. The Mo realistically thought food would be closer to $450. But we thought we should buffer to be safe in case something fell through, or we forgot something, etc. The bride just wanted what we did spend to be done in a way that she approved of. OP on ending her friendship with the bride. OP. It's honestly been pretty lousy seeing that such a long-time friend, 21 years, defaulted to finding fault with everything I did and talking about me with others, as if everything I was doing was not for her. This has been so much work. It was going to cost money, and it didn't benefit me personally at all, except that I wanted my friend to have a really nice event that she didn't have to worry about, which checked off the list of things she wanted. But I'm not even upset about that. I'm upset that she was so nasty to me and talked down to me like I was nothing more than an idiot who is ruining everything. And then, on top of it, she attacked my mental health with my husband, which was just cruel and unnecessary. I can only imagine what she is saying about me to other people, but I don't care. Blue Crew 2020. You took your money back from the budget, right? So it should be less than $1,700 in budget now. OP. The only money that I'd put down was the deposit, so I'm not out of anything once I get the refund. Second story. Entitled husband took OP's RV on their trip and ranted at OP for coming with him. It turned out the trip was for him and his high school ex, so OP exposed him in front of his mother and got him kicked out. Now he wants to reconcile because OP made his mom upset. This might be confusing, but I will try my best to be clear. I am typing this on my tablet, so please forgive me for any spelling or grammar mistakes. Just to note, this is the first time that an issue like this has come up in our marriage, and I do not know what to do. I have been writing romance novels since I was in college. I was a relatively successful author, and I have made a living selling my novels ever since. I do not make a lot of money, but I do bring home $40,000 a year in book sales. This allows me to stay at home during the day so I can write and also make crafts to sell in my Etsy shop. A few years after college, I met Tim, and we instantly hit it off. We dated for 3 years before tying the knot, and we bought a house shortly after. Tim makes his living off his investments and stocks. However, we keep our finances separate. This is because Tim inherited a vast amount of money from his family, and before we married, I signed a prenup agreement in order to ease his mind. We both contribute an equal share to the joint bank account for bills, and then we use the remainder of our money for ourselves. About a year ago, I landed a contract to write part of a romance series. The contract was huge, and the payout was over $120,000 for a few months' work. I contributed my share to the joint account, and then put the rest of the money into the bank so I could buy an RV. I have always wanted an RV because I love to travel, and nothing would make me happier than being able to write while on the road. Tim is often away on business for days at a time, so the RV would give me an opportunity to get out of the house while he is away. After 6 months of deciding, I chose a lightly used RV and purchased it from the owners for a great price. When Tim found out that I had purchased the RV, he was excited. He has a travel trailer, but it's not the same as an all-in-one RV. He loves RVs, and he wanted to immediately take them out for a trip across the state. We took our trip, and Tim couldn't stop talking about how much he enjoyed the experience, so he started talking about taking more trips together. I gently reminded him that even though the RV is a fun thing for us to have for vacations, its main purpose is for me to have something to do while he is away for business, but that we would be taking plenty of vacations together. Tim agreed with me, and he let it go for a while. The thing is, in the past few weeks, Tim has been badgering me about taking the RV with him on his business trips. He usually flies when he goes to check his rental properties or visit family, and he is normally gone for 4 or 5 days at a time. We got into an argument because he had to evict a tenant, and he wanted to drive the RV across the state in order to do so. I asked him if I could come along, and Tim said he would prefer it if I didn't. I then said that if I couldn't come with him, he couldn't take my RV. I suggested that he take his travel trailer instead, and he got mad and stormed out of the house. About an hour later, he started texting me like nothing had happened, and then he said he was taking the RV as if our previous conversation had never happened. I called him and tried to explain that he had just purchased a brand new pickup, and that if I didn't get to drive his new truck in his absence, why should he get to take my RV when I am not coming on the trip? Tim and I went back and forth, and eventually he said I could come along if it meant that much to me. I said I would, and now I am regretting everything. I am sitting in the back of my own RV with a man who won't let me touch the wheel. It has been 3 days since this trip started, and all Tim has done is rant about how awesome the RV trip would be if I weren't with him. It has made me question everything in our marriage, from how we split our finances to how we argue and function together. This is the first time that anything like this has ever happened, and I don't know what to do in this situation. He is still ranting as I type this, and he's never done that before either. I bought an RV with my money so I could write or travel in it while my husband was away for business. My husband insisted on taking the RV with him and me, and I convinced him to let me come. Now he is ranting about how he doesn't want me on the trip, while I sit in the back of the RV, hating my life. Edit. Hey guys, I have read all your comments and advice. I don't know what I'll do yet, but I will update later. Second edit. Hey guys, I've read all of your messages, and I've got limited internet right now. A few of you were concerned for my safety, and I just wanted to let you all know I'm fine. I plan on confronting him later today. Update. I promised I would update, but things got very hectic, and this is the first chance I have gotten. This whole situation makes me very emotional, so please forgive me if this post is not as coherent as I would like it to be. When I posted my first post, we were on the road in the RV, and my husband was giving me the cold shoulder while he BT-chatted me from the driver's seat. You all had some great advice for me about what I should do, and I listened to a few people who suggested that he might be cheating on me. Tim had left his iPad in the back of the RV to charge while he drove. I'm not proud of this, but I was able to sneak his iPad into the bedroom while he was distracted by the road. He was logged into his email account, and I quickly skimmed over his inbox, but didn't find anything suspicious. I then had the idea to check his sent folder, and found out that he had been chatting up his ex from college. It made me sick to my stomach to read the messages, but luckily they had not yet been physical. Translated from ChatSpeak, the message he had sent his ex was basically, "I can't wait to get my hands on you. It's been years since I felt that mouth. I'm excited." I was disgusted, but I tried to keep calm. We were on the road headed to another state, and we planned on stopping at his mother's house. I knew that if his messages were in the sent folder, that meant that he had deleted them. Tim was not planning on being caught and was trying to hide his tracks. He wanted my RV so that he could take his ex around the state and have fun without leaving a credit card trace. I took photos of the emails and sent them to myself in order to preserve the evidence. I then went back to the front of the RV and acted as if everything was fine. I apologized, don't worry. I lied for how I had acted and suggested that we ask his mom to help us work through this. Tim said that he was sorry and that he accepted my apology. He said he was looking forward to using the RV in the future and that he was glad I had come to see the reason. I smiled and nodded, but on the inside, I was cursing his existence. We made it to his mom's house, and I made up an excuse about having to change because my clothes were wrinkled. Tim went inside without me, and I started throwing all of his clothes and belongings into a trash bag. I then went inside the house, and Tim was sitting with his mom in the kitchen. He asked me what I was doing with the bag, and I told him that I was giving him his clothes so that I could leave. Tim then got angry and asked me what the F I was doing, and his mom was simply confused. She asked me what was going on, and I told her, I'm not sure myself. I'm waiting for Tim to explain why he was planning to cheat on me with his ex. Tim's mom then started to cry and yell at Tim while he tried to calm her down. I know Reddit does not have a lot of love for religion, but Tim's mother is a fundamentalist. She had loved me from the minute Tim introduced me to her, and it would be an understatement to say that she was very upset with her adulterous son. Tim never tried to apologize to me. Instead, he chased after his mother, saying he was sorry for her. This made her cry harder because she knew that he wasn't even trying to make amends with me. He was just apologizing to her. She hugged me and told me to just go home, and she would handle her son. I thanked her, took the RV keys from Tim. This ended up being a minor wrestling match, and left. I drove home crying, but at least I got rid of my arsehole ex-husband. Tim called me the next day and begged me to come back to him. He said it was all a mistake, and that he was sorry. I asked him why he didn't apologize at his mother's house, and why he didn't say he was sorry when I was handing him his bag. I told him that he didn't care about cheating on me, and that all he cared about was how bad it made him look to his family. He tried to explain himself, but I cut him off and hung up. I blocked him on all social media and haven't heard anything since. I have gotten a lawyer and have already started the divorce process. OP did drop in on the previous Boru and update her situation. 7 years later. Comment 1. Hi there. I'm the OP from the story. A friend told me it had resurfaced on this subreddit. Long story short, the prenup was not even considered during the divorce. Our lawyers worked out an agreement to split all assets acquired during marriage 50-50 to avoid a drawn-out legal battle. I did end up getting slightly more than I put in during the marriage, but not by much. In the end, I was happier to just get rid of him quickly. Comment 2. Goodness. I was not expecting to hear anything about my story on Reddit after so many years, but a friend linked me to this post. I'm a bit late to the thread though. I'm typing this on my phone, so please forgive any spelling or grammar mistakes. For a small update, our divorce was finalized and settled a long time ago. Our lawyers worked out an agreement outside of court, and we split all assets acquired during the marriage 50-50, which meant I ended up slightly ahead of my personal contributions. I didn't want the mental stress of having to fight my ex in court, and simply wanted to be rid of him. And yes, I kept the RV after the divorce settlement. Mill and I stayed in touch until her passing last year. She was someone who loved God, and she never truly forgave her son for committing the sin of adultery. Her own husband Phil had left her for another woman decades ago, and she had never moved past it. Seeing her son commit the same sin almost broke her, especially since I had fulfilled what she considered to be my wifely obligations. As for me, I am happily single to this day, and am still a writer. OP answers her current relationship status. Biwahaha. This is why I'm still single. I haven't been in a relationship since the divorce, unless you count my cat, and this exchange about her books. ShadowyDex31. Based on the timing and the details, I think I may know who this author is. There's this one book, she writes, that's the story of an author who finds love after divorcing her abusive, arsehole husband. The book talks about how she started writing when she was younger, and didn't pull much for a while before hitting it big. There's just a lot of similarities in both this story and the author's writing style. OP. That is definitely not me, but nice try. My work is more pulp fiction, harlequin romance, and borderline smut. I try to avoid topics from real life like divorce, because people read my work to escape from the harsh reality of the world. Only happy romance. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.